A mystery film, summer of '84, so keep your eyes wide open and stay safe because things are about to get intense. The movie begins with something chilling and mysterious. Over the years leading up to the summer of 1984, 13 teenage boys have vanished without a trace in Cape May, Oregon, but here's the twist. These disappearances seem to have no connection at all, or do they? As summer kicks off, 15-year-old Davy Armstrong starts off with a fun and easy summer. Delivering papers on his route, he's hanging out with his friends, Dale Woody Woodworth, Curtis Faraday, and Tommy Eats Eaton. The group spends a lot of time in a treehouse on Eats' property, which is in danger of being torn down by his grumpy dad. They all love to hang out there, talking about everything from life to dreaming about their crush, Nikki, an older girl who used to babysit Davy when he was younger. She's super pretty, and the guys can't help but imagine what it would be like to talk to her more. The boys are just having fun and enjoying their carefree days, but little do they know, this summer is about to get a whole lot more serious. One day, Davy hears about an anonymous letter sent to the local newspaper claiming responsibility for the murders of the missing boys. The letter says someone is proud of their crimes, and it makes Davy think his neighbor, Wayne Mackey, could be the killer. Mackey is a well-liked police officer in their town of Ipswich, so it's a shocking theory. But when Davy shares this idea with his friends, they don't believe him. They dismiss it because Davy has a history of getting obsessed with conspiracy theories and urban legends. However, things start to take a strange turn when Davy sees a boy he recognizes inside Mackey's house one day. Just a few days later, that same boy's face appears on the back of a milk carton, missing. This makes Davy's friends start to take him seriously. They decide to help him investigate further. Even though they're nervous, they all agree something weird is going on, and they need to find out the truth. At the same time, Nikki begins spending more time with Davy. She shares her feelings with him, revealing that her parents are getting divorced, and she will soon be moving away. Nikki is torn about the big changes in her life, and she opens up to Davy about how hard it is to leave the place she's always known. This adds another layer to Davy's summer, making things even more complicated. The boys begin to keep a close eye on Mackey's daily routine, and they start noticing some really suspicious things. Mackey buys gardening tools and bags of soil all the time, which seems strange for someone who doesn't talk much about gardening. They also notice that he brings a duffel bag to work every day and goes for late-night jogs. One night, Davy tries to plant a walkie-talkie outside Mackey's window to spy on him, but Mackey catches him in the act. Davy gets nervous because he realizes Mackey might be onto him. Then, Woody and Faraday find even more evidence when they discover a second car and some canisters of sodium hydroxide in Mackey's self-storage room. This is getting weirder and weirder. Meanwhile, Davy and Eats stumble upon a blood-stained t-shirt belonging to one of the missing boys in Mackey's garden shed. With all this evidence, they decide it's time to tell Davy's parents what they found. When they show the evidence to Davy's parents, they're furious. Davy's mom and dad think the boys have gone too far, calling their investigation vandalism. To make things right, Davy's dad takes the boys over to Mackey's house to apologize. Mackey acts like everything is fine and doesn't seem mad at them, but Davy still gets grounded for getting into trouble. The next day, Mackey shows up at Davy's house to talk. He explains that the boy Davy saw at his home was just his nephew, and to prove he's telling the truth, Mackey tries to call him. But when Mackey calls, the phone doesn't get answered. Davy starts to get suspicious and soon realizes something strange. Mackey actually dialed his own phone number. That's a big red flag. The next day, things take another twist. A suspect is arrested in the Cape May Slayer case, and guess who made the arrest? Mackey himself. Davy feels disgusted by this because it seems like Mackey is just trying to cover up something. He decides he's going to break into Mackey's house during the Cape May festival to find out the truth for sure. Faraday, who is supposed to be keeping watch at the festival, finds out some surprising news. He learns that the bags of soil Mackey had been buying were actually for a city project to improve the town's look, not for anything sinister. When Faraday and Eats find out, they decide to call off their plan and back out, but Davy is still determined to get answers, no matter what. Davy, Woody, and Nikki decide to take matters into their own hands. They sneak into Mackey's house with a video camera that Davy's dad, Mr. Armstrong, owns. They're careful and try to be quiet, but they can't help but be nervous as they explore the house. When they go down to the basement, they find a locked room, and inside, it's decorated to look exactly like Mackey's childhood room. It's really creepy, but they keep going. Then, they enter the bathroom, and what they find makes them freeze in horror. In the bathtub is the body of a missing boy, all dried up and lifeless. But that's not all. They also find another boy, still alive, but clearly hurt. As they try to escape the house, they spot something even worse. A wall filled with framed photographs of all the missing children. including one of Davy with his family. It's then they realize that Mackie has been planning to make Davy his next victim. In a rush, they take the video footage to the Ipswich Police Department. The police issue an all-points bulletin APB for Mackie, marking him as a wanted criminal. Finally, Davy's parents realize how wrong they were not to believe him. They apologize to him, realizing that their son was right all along. Late one night, Mackie secretly hides in Davy's attic. Waiting for the perfect moment to strike, he sneaks up on Davy and Woody while they're sleeping and kidnaps them. Taking them to his police cruiser, he abandons them on a small, isolated island and tells them that they're going to play a dangerous game of manhunt. The boys are terrified, but have no choice but to run for their lives. As they flee into the wilderness, Mackie chases after them. Determined to catch them, the boys try to escape, but they end up slipping and falling into a terrible scene, a dump filled with the bodies of people Mackie has hurt. In the chaos, Mackie slashes Davy's leg with a knife, causing him to bleed, and then he kills Woody by slitting his throat. Davy is scared and alone, but Mackie isn't done yet. Mackie corners Davy, and just when it seems like Davy is about to be next, Mackie makes a choice. Instead of killing him, he decides to leave Davy alive, so that he can always be afraid, always looking over his shoulder, wondering when Mackie will come back to finish what he started. After being rescued and spending some time in the hospital to recover, Davy tries to go back to his normal life. He starts his day like he always did, by doing his paperboy route. As he walks down the familiar streets, he notices things have changed. He passes Woody's house, but it's now empty and boarded up because it was foreclosed. It's a sad reminder of what happened to his friend. Then, he sees Nikki one last time. She's leaving town with her parent because of the danger from Mackie. She waves goodbye to Davy, and he feels a mix of sadness and fear for her. Moving on, Davy reaches the place where their old treehouse used to stand. It's gone, demolished, and Eats and Faraday are there. Picking through the wreckage, neither of them will look Davy in the eye. Clearly still shaken up over Woody's death, the whole neighborhood feels different now. Finally, Davy reaches Mackie's house. The police have it surrounded with yellow tape, marking it as a crime scene. He stops and pulls out a newspaper, staring at the headline, "Kate May Slayer Still at Large." Davy's heart sinks as he realizes the nightmare is far from over. The terror isn't finished and Mackie is still out there somewhere. I hope you enjoyed this.